So I want to thank all of y'all participating today in this focus group, and I really appreciate it, and I hope that we'll be able to get some real good beneficial information out of it that will help all of us and going forward in the future. So welcome. I'm going to go around the room real quick and have everybody introduce themselves and just state real quickly and briefly a little bit about your experience in education. Go first.
I am Shanette Hatcher. I'm a first-year teacher. Prior to this, I subbed for 5 years.
Okay.
My name is Shauna Bridges. I'm a first-year teacher, and I don't have any education experience besides what I've gotten so far at Cotton.
My name is Edward Bradley. This is my 4th year teaching. This is my first year teaching U.S. 8th grade history. This is the first year I've actually been the pleasure of teaching both 6 and 7 days all within the same year, school year, after we had a few changes, but this is my 4th year and whatnot.
My name is Jason Harrison. This is my 2nd year teaching. I was a substitute for 3 years for this same district. So I've been with this district about 4 years, 4.5 years almost.
My name is Vince Luna. This is my first year teaching, first year teacher. I was a substitute for Shannonville ISD for about a year and a half, and Galena Park. And this is my first year with Spring ISD, and that's about mostly it for education experience, just about a year and a half subbing, and this is my first actual teaching year. So.
Great, great. So we have a relatively new group of teachers, which is a really good thing for the purpose of this meeting, because as a newer teacher, professional development is even more important to us. And while it'll be always important to our careers, it's even more important now when we're, in our infancy stages of our development and finding out what's most important for us individually. So to introduce the meeting, the purpose of the meeting is going to be to identify the degree of importance that we place on professional development and identify some key recommendations for effective and relevant professional development. We're going to start with the round robin questioning. I'll ask a question, we'll go around the room real quick and have everybody give an answer as far as how they feel about that individual question. And I'll ask a few questions that way before we move on to the compare and contrast activity. So this will be a discussion portion that you see there on your agenda. Okay. So the first question is, what degree of importance do you place on professional development as it pertains to teacher growth? That's what degree of importance do you place on professional development as it pertains to teacher growth?
I think it's very important because sometimes we don't know what we don't know. So that's why we depend on professional development to guide us in the right direction.
Okay.
With this being my first year and not having any teacher experience, I think that it's very important, and I'm happy to go to them because it helps me grow as a teacher and helps me better understand the new environment of teaching in my classroom better.
I'm kind of split on that. I think it does serve a purpose. I think it really does. I think for me the biggest thing is as a teacher is knowing the content. If you know the content, everything goes into that. I think you should pick and choose which ones you go to, because not everyone I think you need to go to. I'm a person who's into the school year. I think you need to be self-reflective, and you look at yourself, and most of the time you're going to know there are certain things you go through a school year that you need to work on as a professional, and you don't need other people. Certain people can tell, they can coach you, but there are certain things with classroom management or content development that you want to do a better job on, and those are things that you internally need to get better at. Then on top of that, you can use, of course, professional development to help you in certain areas, to improve in certain areas. But I think it needs to be real specific instead of just taking a bunch of stuff that's miscellaneous, that sometimes you're just filling hours, because all of us have to meet a certain criteria in terms of hours, but the hours need to be the right hours that are actually going to benefit you. So I think there needs to be a balance between those two things.
I believe that it's important. However, I believe it's even more important that it be relevant to the type of students or the demographic of students that you're teaching. So much so that we go to a lot of professional development that I believe sometimes don't, particularly they're not a design for the demographic of students that we teach. Some of the things that we may talk about in those professional developments may not work in our particular classroom setting. So that's one of the major issues I have with professional development, but I believe it's important so that you can learn what is expected of you and be able to execute your job better, but it needs to be relevant to what kind of kids and the type of campus that you're working at.
Sure.
As far as I go, I mean, I am a first year teacher, so I believe professional development is as important as it gets. Anything that's benefiting me in the classroom, I believe is helpful. So, but as long as the professional development, as long as it relates to the classroom and my students and helps me out personally, I think it's more than important. But as far as like, if it's in another grade that has nothing to do with me, I mean, that's something else though. But I do believe professional development is very important, especially for first year teachers.
Yeah, and I agree with a lot of pretty much everything you said, all of you. I place a pretty high, degree of importance on it as well, and I even find that when I'm attending professional developments, because I think back when I'm talking about this, about professional developments that I've, attended and what went through my mind at the time. And one of the big things that always seems to stick out in my mind is, as I'm going through it, I'm processing the things and the information that I'm getting is, there's often a lot of information that I feel like I can't really benefit from, but then there's pieces and here and there that I know that I can and will, always use those things, but some are just, as far as my own, personal way that I teach, some are more beneficial to me than others. They're all good, but I guess it just depends on your own individual style of teaching. So the next question is, how effective do you feel your current professional development opportunities are? How effective do you feel your current professional development opportunities are?
So are we gonna like rate it from somewhat or kind of, or not effective at all, or what exactly, what are our options?
Well,
Is it a scale?
it's not really a scale, it's kind of just an open-ended question as far as how you want to answer it, but you could give it a scale if you wanted to, like.
I would say, I guess on a scale of 1 to 5, that normally it's like a 4.
Okay.
Are we giving an explanation? We're just writing it and keeping going.
Let me read the question again.
I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. How effective do you feel your current professional development opportunities are? So in other words, the professional development that you're getting, for example, through the district and through the campus, how effective do you feel currently it is for you as a teacher?
Most of them have been effective, but there was one. I mean, I really enjoyed the professional development setting and everything we learned, but it doesn't relate to how I can use it in my class because of the type of students that I have and then the degree of technology that we have in our campus available to us. So while I enjoy it, it wasn't helpful really.
Okay.
For me, I think the biggest thing for me is timing. In terms of timing, in terms of when we're taking them. Because to me, I think the most effective time for me is really not like now for me as because I coach, it's not the most effective time now. I think the stuff that I get in the summertime, I'm able to process more and digest more because I have more time to reflect on and really practice. I can say, okay, I could have used this during the school year. Because that's where a lot of my big ideas I get is during the school, is during the summertime. And I've had some time to reflect and whatnot. So some during the school year, they are effective. But sometimes they can also be less effective depending on factors such as fatigue, how tired you are. If there are 3 hours, if you're saying we've all taught, let's say we get done at 4:30, we have to be done with duty, but then we got to be somewhere, be across campus, be at some place at 5:30, we got to be there till 7:30. Well, depending on what they're talking about, it's more just about survival. You're not really trying. I don't know how much you're trying. You're trying to concentrate, but there's a lot of fatigue factor. I felt that same professional development was probably issued in the summertime. You're probably a little more effective because you're less tired and less fatigued and whatnot. So I think that for me plays a big factor. There are some that are short and quick that are very effective. There are some depending on, I think the ones from Region 4 are really good, but then there's been others that I think that sometimes are ineffective. Just they seem more like we're just taking up a lot of time slots and whatnot. So to me, it's just about timing and I guess selection. But I honestly think for me, a lot of the stuff that I get during the summertime is really effective. A lot of times in the summertime. That's just my opinion.
Okay.
I will agree with Mr. Bradley on a lot of what he's just said. I believe on a scale of 1, I want to put it on a scale if possible. On a scale of 1 to 10, I would say probably about a 6. maybe 7 on a good day, that it's effective. I mean, we're being offered it, but it's the one. It goes back to what I said earlier. It's sometimes just not relevant to the kind of kids and the demographics that we have in the classrooms that we have here on the campus. That's just it. Our professional developments are centered around a perfect world, if you ask me. If it's a perfect world type atmosphere around the schools, and it seems like it fails to take into account sometimes of the uncertainties that happen on campus and that happen with some of the kids that we particularly teach.
So, let's make sure I'm hearing you. You feel like professional developments that are centered around more cultural type things would be more beneficial to, like, say, a campus like ours?
Okay, yeah, I guess you could say that maybe, but yeah, I guess you could say that. It's not necessarily cultural, though. I don't think it's cultural. It's just more so as the kind of kids that we teach. Some of them don't realize the specific importance of education.
Right. Well, culture is important too, and the only reason I brought that up is I don't see a lot of those. And you know, to me, a PD like you might have, like you mentioned on technology, if you're talking about using laptops and how you can use iPads and things like that in the classroom. But
Yeah,
you don't
we
have
don't
them.
have that.
You know, it's
Yeah.
one thing, but you know, if you have a grant or something and you get some more books into the library on cultural things, or you do a PD that talks about you know, how to implement more cultural type activities, might bringing in some people from the community to show how their traditions are when it comes to the foods they make around the holidays, or you know, the different jobs that they have, etc., and implement those activities into the classroom to where all the kids can benefit from seeing the different, you know, aspects of different cultures. That was what I was thinking anyway. I don't really see that. I think it would be beneficial too, but
Well, I'm speaking on the instinct that our professional developments are mostly designed for, I would say, a suburban school district that's out in the suburbs, and we're teaching more of an urban inner city kind of school district.
right.
And so the things that we're learning in our professional developments don't necessarily, they don't work. Some of the things, the methods that we discuss in those professional developments don't work here.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. Go ahead, Mr. Lord, I'm
Yeah.
sorry.
No, it's all good. I mean, that's basically kind of, I felt the same. I mean, I'll say it's like not it's somewhat effective. No, I mean, highly effective. I mean, it's not highly effective, but it's also, I don't want to say it has no effect at all in the classroom, because everything I've learned in professional development, you know, I've tried to implement in the classroom as much as the best I can, but you know, I get most ideas from the professional development, but as far as like performing them and executing them correctly, that's kind of where I have to struggle at. But it is effective to the point where it gives me ideas of something to do in the classroom, as opposed to me having, I guess, no idea what to do.
Okay. And the last question is, do you feel that there are adequate opportunities provided for professional development? Do you feel that there are adequate opportunities provided for professional development?
No.
Okay.
Because I did my training through Region 4, and I have like Region 4 a lot of access to the professional development that they offer, plus the ones that Spring offer, I say yes.
Good.
Ooh, I think there is, but I just think the time, to go back what I said before, is just when it is. Like for me now, it's not a good time right now, because I have stuff going on in the afternoons and the mornings, and a lot of the training they offer sometimes are in those time slots, and they're 2 hours long, and they're, you know, you're trying to get your hours. So it's real, I don't know, for me, this is a difficult time to get a lot of professional development. That's why I try to get the bulk of mine in the summertime. So I'd probably say no for right now, just based on the time. Everybody's different, but for me, it's not a good time. It's always, for me, after May, it's always a much better
Based
time.
on your schedule.
Yeah, based on
the
my
weekend
schedule,
or something.
the
this time
weekends,
of year.
yeah, and whatnot.
Gotcha.
I would say yes and no. It's kind of a catch-22. If they schedule it on the weekend, then obviously we work here 5 days a week. We want our weekends. I just went to a professional development last week. I think it was the 28th on a Saturday, and it really, yeah. So it's really tough to do that. But then at the same time, if they have it during the week, then you're missing class time with your students, which means they're losing quality instruction time. if they have to have a sub. So it's kind of a catch-22. They offer it, but it's when you're a teacher, it's really the only right time to offer professional development, I think, would be in the summertime because that's the only time you're free.
Right.
So, yeah.
So what was the question again?
The question was, do you feel that there are adequate opportunities provided for professional development?
I believe there is. I mean, I've gone out my way to, as your 4 year, to look for like different professional development meetings, and I've asked Taylor and I've asked other people. So I feel that the opportunity is there.
Okay. So next thing we're going to do the compare and contrast activity. I have some lecture paper over here, and we'll just split the table right down the middle, the two sides, and we're going to do a quick Venn diagram that will compare and contrast the perceived needs from teachers with the current offerings from the school and the district. So we're going to compare and contrast the current offerings from the district and from the school on professional development.
Two circles.
Harrison,
Yeah.
can I get some markers?
On one side you got the district, the other side is the school, and you have that's different.
You want the
what's
middle?
the same as what's in the middle, right?
Okay.
Did she say where she put this?
I did actually in a circle, huh?
Yeah, it doesn't have to be beautiful.
Yeah.
Now you want us to compare the need of us from the district?
You're going to compare and contrast the perceived needs from teachers with the district versus the campus.
Okay. Perceived needs of the district.
So teacher needs.
Well, we need more technology. That's one thing I can honestly say for sure. I wish we had more technology for our students.
Do you think that's across the board as a district or just
Yeah,
our
it
school?
is. That's across the board as a district. Spring
So that
ISD.
should go in the center, because that's something we all need,
Mhm.
not just Claudia, but also the district.
And then we have it, but of course, even in 6th grade world cultures, we can't get it because it has to go to reading and math.
To be honest with you, to be honest with you, everything I can think of that we need would probably go in the middle.
Yeah.
Because it's across the board thing in Spring ISD.
We need a universal, in terms of discipline plan.
We need a universal
Yeah.
discipline plan.
I mean, we gotta
We need
have
That in there.
we
Yeah.
need to be our discipline plan needs to be revamped, basically dismantled and rebuilt.
I agree.
So are we saying for Clyden or for
For the
For
district.
the district.
I say district discipline.
The
Yeah,
district discipline
because
plan
we're
needs
talking
to be
about-
dismantled and revamped.
Yeah, because if you're talking about competing with other schools, but if other schools are doing stuff that is different from ours, but they're more effective, then maybe we should do what they're doing.
Yeah,
I'm just
and at the
saying.
same time, no, that's probably gonna go in the middle, that discipline thing.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, that's what I
That's Friday, I understand.
This,
I'll do that, yeah.
discipline
What do you
plan,
think, Ms. Hatcher?
revive.
I would say parent participation,
Oh, hallelujah. Clyden district.
Claudia. I can't speak for.
That's a district thing too, trust me. For coming from a person that worked at BAML
I wrote it all
and
down.
came here, yeah, it's not just at
What do you
Claudia.
think, Mr. Bradley?
Focus on student responsibility. I mean, the onus should be on the student to be responsible. That should be part of the deal. That should be an emphasis.
Do you think that would fall under the
I'm telling you.
discipline plan, or would it be another?
That would be just the district in the whole. You can put that in the middle, because that to me is, that belongs in the middle. I
Focus
think.
on student,
Yeah, responsibility. It's gotta be a core value.
And parent responsibility. Parents taking responsibility for their students' learning, their child's learning.
How do you hold a parent accountable?
That's the crazy part about it. How do you?
Discipline.
But one thing we need, discipline is one way to
You start with the discipline, because to me,
Because
if
it
you have
seems
an
like a
ironclad, you know, to be second with Harrison, I'm sure Bloomfield's the same. If you have an ironclad discipline plan, if you have an ironclad discipline plan, if you're talking about competing with Cy-Fair or some of these other school districts, or Katy, or Klein, they have that.
Yeah.
Like I said, they don't. Like I said, they don't.
And they don't blame everything on their teachers.
Well, and then also they don't let students, I guess, recycle themselves. Well, if he's been bad at BAML, he can come to Clark.
Yeah.
You shouldn't be like that. You
No.
should be going to alternative school.
Yeah.
You should stay there, and then you'll be released back to the regular school.
No, you should stay there.
Yeah,
Once
you
you
should
go
stay
there,
there.
you shouldn't even be
Exactly.
allowed to come back.
Exactly. It shouldn't be like that. You shouldn't be allowed to
You
jump
should be able
around.
to stay there for a whole
Remember
year.
also that you're viewing this through the lens of professional development. These teacher needs, as far as what you could benefit from the, as far as your perceived needs from the perspective of what you could use professional development wise. Does that make sense?
So
Okay,
get
well,
discipline ideas.
Discipline
and professional
ideas and
development.
professional development, they need to do some professional development with the administrators and teachers and revise the discipline plan. We need some technology resources. I don't know how that would tie in. But we could do some professional developments on trying to hold parents more accountable.
Or how to come, like, bridge the
I
gap
guess
between
this
communication.
may not be part of professional development because that's just a need of the district, period, is technology. Now, we could do professional developments on how to use the technology once we get it.
We had some.
You get what I'm saying? So,
I can add to one thing we could do for professional development, deeper content knowledge. So like I said, give teachers time to develop their content knowledge so they have a feel of their knowledge. That goes TEKS and just general knowledge. Give them time to develop, let them take certain classes to help develop their knowledge. We always talk about, we always talk about strategies and all that stuff for the kids, but for the teacher itself, they need to be knowledgeable, they need to be prepared. I think that's a big thing. We sometimes forget that. And you need time to digest to do it. You can't do it if you're having meetings every 5 minutes. You can't do that if every conference period is taken. You need time to digest information. That's how you get better. I don't think you get better by meeting to death. You get better by practicing stuff you learn, not by meeting about stuff. I think you have to go on there, you have to get through it. Like I said, in the summertime, that's where I get a lot of my ideas. I'm able to implement those in the school year, and I'm able to hit the ground running going in the fall, because I've already come off of summer school. You got your reps in there, and you say, okay, the light bulb goes, okay, I could have used this during the school year. I feel comfortable now using this in the school year. I got my knowledge, my content knowledge is good. That's the kind of development. I think that helps teachers develop. I think you have more.
Would you put that on the campus side, or would you put that in the middle for something that, both district and campus?
District, I think the district should put an emphasis on providing time to develop the content knowledge. Each teacher needs to have their in-depth knowledge about their content. If they want to have the kind of teachers they always talk about, knowing knowledge, well, it's easy to come with good activities if you know all the material. If you don't know the material,
Because it
you're
could
not.
definitely go on the district side.
Yeah. That's how I feel about that. And as for the teacher, of course, we want to continue to, anytime we have a chance to take STAR tested, STAR training stuff or STAR revamp stuff in the summer to make sure we're not making mistakes, because nobody wants to get in trouble or lose their license. Well, of course, that fun. I'm not saying the onus doesn't go back with us, but those developments, those are stuff that the district can offer, and then we as professionals, like I said, I know we're going to do our part, but everybody else has got to do theirs and whatnot. That's the only thing about it.
I kind of wish we had more hands-on professional development. Like, I don't like just sitting there listening. Like, I need something I'm participating in so I can grasp it more.
That's true.
Yeah.
Especially with the lesson planning. Like, that's the one I have trouble with the most, is trying to lesson plan in the calendar and in Eduphoria and dealing with the online stuff. At the first semester, I had trouble doing all that stuff.
You want to put that under Clyde? Or lesson planning?
I think that'd be good. I think that'd be good. A lesson plan. I think it should be a practice where you actually have someone.
this is going to your class, or this is going to the school? Where is this?
This isn't going anywhere.
Oh, that's what I
The video
thought.
is.
Oh, okay.
That piece about that you mentioned, Mr. Lynn, about the online, like, I could have used that like 4 or 5 days ago, like, and I could still use it today.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I still don't have access to some things, but things I do have access to, because I'm just not becoming, I just not have access to them. It's
It's like a whole new.
I could use somebody to show me how to put in an assignment or to do this.
And then, like I said, that to me, those are things that teach, and to me,
I feel like they should.
and I'll
You shouldn't be
echo
allowed
some,
to start until you know something.
right,
So-
and that's something that Harrison and I talk, just like in the summertime, while we're doing stuff like convocation stuff that are just wasted days, or we just wasted days doing like kumbaya stuff, and I'm not saying that's not important, we're holding each other's hand, that's great, but the stuff that actually helps teachers, like do stuff for like learning how to know Ezra for it, that's the stuff we should be practicing doing. That's stuff that's actually gonna make each of these guys' lives easier, not take away time so life is harder. You make it where the life is easier. If you're being a good teammate, you're not overboard, you're trying to help them. But if you want to help someone, give them time to learn those basic foundational things. I have no problem with feel-good stuff and, we meet for a hamburger. I don't have no problem with that stuff, as long as it's limited time. Because the other stuff about practicing, him know how to use Edge for it, her know how to use the online textbook, or you know how to get your resources, that's going to help you make you a better teacher. You talk about better instruction, you'll get better instruction if each of us knows how to use all the technology. We have time to develop lesson plans. Good lesson plans need time. You want to have warm-ups and have stuff, it takes time to develop those. Mental thought, to think things, to put a game plan down. You can't just put a game plan and just throw something together, because it's going to be trash. I'm just going to tell you, it's not going to be a good game plan. If you can't look at it or walk through it and there's not options off another option, you should be able to look at your lesson and say, this is a good plan. If this doesn't work, let's do something else. But that takes time to do that. If you don't have time, you're just going to throw things again. You'll look flustered, you look stuff. But that takes time for Luna to develop that process. It's a process of development. He needs time to do it. If you don't have time, you're not going to develop it. It just doesn't work like that. It just doesn't.
Okay. All right, so we're moving on.
So do we need to get some more stuff for the district side, as far as,
Honestly, I'm only familiar with Clyde, so I can't compare anything to the district, so I wouldn't know.
I mean, we talked about technology, we talked about, content development, we talked about all those things. You can do stuff on classroom management, stuff that, I'll say,
curriculum development,
yeah,
things like that.
but stuff that you can apply in situations. And then one thing we don't talk about, we should spend more time talking about situational stuff, because that's what's happened. The classroom's all about situations. Him getting cursed out, her getting yelled at, kids being defiant, refusing to get up and go out of the chair. Situation. That's the kind of stuff that teachers need to be prepped for. That shouldn't be something that you in the interview room, they don't tell you about that, because that's the kind of stuff that happens. That's what happens in the classroom. You tell them to get up, what do you do?
And some of the specific ways of dealing with it that they've given us in professional development, those kids laugh at them. It's not funny. I mean, it's not funny to us, but it's funny to them.
Right.
They don't respond to that. They just don't. And that's why I say our professional development, once again, I'll say it again, it needs to be relevant to the type of kids that we need. The discipline plan, I'm sorry, needs to be relevant to the particular group of kids in which we teach, because sweet talking them does not work for them. Sweet talking them does not work for them. They will walk over you like a mat if you sweet talk them, or if you show any type of being soft. So we need to understand, I think the district itself needs to revamp itself and understand the demographic of kids that we have.
So classroom management strategies.
Classroom management for personal development. We talked about the technology, and situational classroom
Do you
management.
think the CHAMPS works?
No,
It's not a question, because it's going district if it doesn't.
but that's the thing. The whole district
So
doesn't
you
do
say
that.
I'm saying what they're supposed to. Because I know it's Twin Creeks they do.
To me,
That's
CHAMPS
supposed to.
just
But it works in
provides
Twin
structure.
Creeks. Twin Creeks is not over here by Ella.
I'm asking you, do you think CHAMPS works? That's just a question. Maybe they didn't have an
Twin
alternative.
Creeks is in the heart of Spring, Texas.
I know where Twin Creeks is at. I've been there.
So that's, I'm just being honest.
Classroom management district needs.
Do you think that CHAMPS works?
No.
Do you think the district should have
I
two
think
sets
the
of CHAMPS?
I think the district needs to get rid of CHAMPS because it does not work and it's not effective.
Okay, I'll put CHAMPS on the district thing.
Do you use it? Or did you use it?
I did.
Yeah.
At some point in time, I did. Yes, I did. And I found that the kids will have their hand up and they're still talking with their hand up just like this. They're having their conversation with their hand up. And my hand is up with them, saying, I need your help. And I said, I need your help. Their hand is up. but yet while their hand is up giving me their help, they're giving me their help with their conversation while their hand is still up. That's not effective to me. And I'm sorry, I hope I'm not making your video terrible, but
No, this is good. This is good information. I mean,
I
good
feel
to
like
talk
this
about
is the
stuff.
time to vent. This is how
what
I've
we're,
been
yeah, that's what we're
feeling. I've been
doing.
about to pop.
Well,
Okay.
I just took that training, and so
You feel that it is okay?
I haven't got to the point where I can answer that question.
Oh, okay. Well,
But I know that there's some things about it that I just got through, going over in the training that I absolutely firmly believe in, and I know they work, but they're not always applied, and in some cases they're not going to be effective when they're not applied. But in the, I don't know, what is the name of that book?
I wish I had
Tools
video.
for Teaching by Fred Jones.
Yeah, Fred Jones's book, Tools for Teaching. You read that book?
I think I have a book, one of those books from them. I think they gave us a free copy
Yeah.
of that book.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
a
that
good
new
one.
teacher training.
Yeah, I don't know what it
Really,
is.
that's nice. They're giving away free books. That's nice.
Yeah, they do.
So
That's
there's
cool.
there's a part in there that talks about stance and what is it, stance and register is one part of it, but that's the way you speak to a student. There's several different registers. One's formal, you have an informal register. There's different registers. The rotundas of your voice, the way you're speaking to a student, and then there's it's like stance and / something else, but it's basically talking about posture and when you're given directions to the students that you're not looking at this student talking over your shoulder or something like that, but you're addressing the class and you're facing forward, your toes pointing forward, and you're looking directly at the class, and you're using a register that lets them know that these are the directions and this is what you need to follow, and champ it out. But I've seen that, and I've had that happen with myself as well, where we do get distracted sometimes, and you're talking to one kid and addressing one situation over here, and then the class kind of can start to get out of control, and you even give directions to them, they just keep doing what they're doing, and you do have to address them to where they understand that you're giving them specific directions, and a lot of times that can have a impact in it. I found anyway, but I see it in the hall all the time because teachers are so busy in the hall, especially in the mornings, because you got some kid walking up. I'm just observing teachers. There's a teacher and she's giving directions on what to do when you're walking in or whatever, and then this one kid comes up and is hugging this teacher, another one's talking to him at the same time, and then maybe another teacher's talking to him as well. Mm-hmm. And whatever they're saying to the students, because they've got 3 or 4 other things going on, unzip your jacket or where you going, whatever goes in one ear and out the other.
Mm-hmm.
And I've even seen it happen with me. And
Well, this is the thing.
Good afternoon and happy Friday, Clark.
You got anything else? I
Thank
gotta
you
go
so
do.
much
You
for an
got some more
awesome
stuff.
Friday. We had a
uh,
really great
just
day
have one more
today.
little
As
thing
I
right
walked the
here, real quick.
building, I saw awesome
If you can flip your
teaching
paper
happening in
over,
the classroom. Students were engaged in
and
their learning. That's what we expect to
on the
see
back,
each
you
and
can
every
design a
day.
T-chart
Good
real
job,
quick showing
congratulations. Keep up the good work.
the ways in which professional development is adequate or most beneficial, and the ways in which it's inadequate or least beneficial, in your opinion.
Tomorrow there is no
So,
Saturday school.
one
Saturday
side,
school will
how
resume
professional
on
development is
next Saturday,
adequate
but tomorrow
or most
we will
beneficial,
not
and on the other
have
side, how it's
Saturday
inadequate or
school.
least beneficial.
We also want to give a shout out to
Most beneficial and least
Michael
beneficial.
Michelle Mendez, who found a purse in the restroom. She's a 6th grader. And
That's nice.
turned that purse in. Way to go, Michelle. Thank you
job,
so
Michelle.
much for your honesty. There
Good job.
is a lost iPhone 5 that is silver with a crack on the back. If you have that phone, or if you know the whereabouts of that phone,
That's me.
please somebody
We lost it.
and let us know so that we can get it back to its
Yeah.
rightful
I
owner.
thought they were,
We
I thought I was gonna
found
keep it
a
today. I
pair
thought
of
someone came up to me and said,
black
"Hey, I left my
glasses.
phone
Black
here
glasses
yesterday."
were found by
But I guess
Martha
I'll just take it to
Lopez.
Emerson.
Thank you, Martha. Martha, turn these black glasses in. Thank you so much for your honesty. We
What were you saying?
appreciate
Make sure it's
you.
relevant, or when it's not
So
relevant.
kids, if you
Make
lost
sure
your black
it's
glasses,
relevant
please
to
come to
the
the front.
demographic of
Also,
students.
the Caney High School Cheer
So it'll
Interest
be least
Meeting
beneficial
is
when it's not
February the
relevant.
8th at 5:30. This meeting is required for tryouts. So kids, if you're interested in cheerleading 8th graders for next year,
Turn that speaker
please,
off.
please make sure you attend the interest
So-
meeting February the 8th at 5:30.
As you're wrapping that up,
Also, we turn lost keys. If you lost your keys, to
do you
get
have
into
any
your
other
house,
questions regarding the
we
current
have
state of
lost
professional
keys
development
here
within the
in front.
district
Come
or
by and
within
see the keys
our
yours.
campus?
A
Do
big
we have a who?
congratulations.
A current
Any questions?
Any questions
No.
or concerns regarding professional developments that are offered to you through the district or the campus?
No concerns. Like I said, I mean, I just think that, I think the district has some good stuff to offer. I just think sometimes the time is sometimes a little difficult to get to sometimes. That's how I feel about it. 'Cause in the summertime, like I said, that's where I absorb a lot of stuff just for me, yeah. That's crazy.
If you could fill this quick survey out for me real quick, I'd greatly appreciate it.
Thank
I
you.
appreciate your time and participating in this meeting.
Obliged.
And you're dismissed. And
Please.
finish that quick survey for me.
Satisfied.
Kelly
you have
Salgado,
it.
I hope y'all have a good weekend.
Same to you, brother.